So, if you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Mark de Grasse. I am the founder of AI Branding Academy. I'm also the former president of digitalmarketer.com. And I've kind of switched off for the last 20 years from being a entrepreneur and then being an executive. And this really started when I was 21. When I was 21, I was the CFO for a company called Teleparent, which did communication systems between parents and school teachers back in the mid 2000s. And that was kind of the start of the internet, or pretty close to the start of the internet. And what we had was a technology that allowed teachers to go on a website, which was again pretty novel back then, and select messages that would then be sent home to the parents in their home language. So it was pretty innovative at the time. And my goal was really to sell the company. So I became the CFO, did a bunch of business planning, and actually started raising capital for them and tried to sell the company to another business called EduLink. But that company actually got purchased by Blackboard, which still exists to this day. And then I went on my entrepreneurship journey. So I basically was an executive, and then I started a business called Biomed Methods and Embody Strength, which was in the fitness industry, and built a magazine. And that's where I kind of got into e-commerce. We were actually importing equipment, and then to sell the equipment, we made a magazine, which was the content marketing play. And eventually, I sold the magazine to a company called On It and became the CFO again, except this time I was the Chief Fitness Officer. And I basically built their content platform and their certification. So I have a really big background in certifications and just content marketing in general. After that, I had an agency for about 6 years where I built about 300 brands personally. I've only, with that company, I only had a small team or I had contractors. So I actually built the 300 brands, which is where a lot of my branding component and website development skills came from. After that, I became a fractional CMO for a few different companies. One of them was actually Digital Marketer, and then became the president of Digital Marketer after that for about 2.5 years. After that, I was the a technical advisor to the CEO of CarParts.com, built their podcast and built a sub brand that they had purchased a few years back called JC Whitney. If you're older, maybe you might remember JC Whitney. It was one of these. There you go, Mark knows. It was like this giant catalog. It was actually around for about 100 years, and I came in and said, "Hey, let's just bring the catalog back, but not a catalog because that's a lot of work." So I actually recommended they make a magazine, JC Whitney magazine, and kind of relaunch that brand. And so they built that, and I made their podcast. So my background kind of ranges from a lot of content marketing, a lot of branding, and a lot of these kind of, I call them content platforms, which come in the form of podcasts, kind of comprehensive directory websites, magazines, books, that kind of thing. And yeah, I've done some other stuff too, but that's kind of like the major points. But through all of this, all of these things, from being an executive multiple times, business owner multiple times, it all comes back to personal branding. Surprisingly, and networking, which is amazing because if you aren't personal branding, you're not networking today. You need to start now because the future of all business is going to be relationships. Because the fact of the matter is, AI, even though we do encourage it a lot, it's kind of destroying how we've done things for the last 20 years. Because you're not going to be able to trust anything you see online. It might be actually fake, and that I can teach you how to do that here at the academy. Make fake people, make content, even if you're not a professional in that content. So what's going to happen is this kind of dynamic of AI being able to democratize all skill sets means that you don't know what people actually know. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to build up a network of people you trust because they know how to do things. Also, your customers, since you could create so much kind of fake content, they're not going to trust you unless they know you personally or unless they meet you personally. And so all of this comes back to the personal brand. How do you establish yourself? How do you figure out, your system? I call it a brand system, which is one of the first things we're going to do today. And what is your brand? Who are you? What do you do? What's your skill set? What do you want to do? What are you trying to accomplish? All these different aspects all come back to your personal brand. And again, if you're thinking like, oh, should I, and I get this question all the time, should I be focusing on my company brand or should I be focusing on my personal brand? If you're starting from scratch, always personal brand. Because no matter what happens, you're still going to be you. You know, you might not have that company anymore. You might not have that job anymore, but you're still going to be you, hopefully. So, when you're looking at all these different aspects, really remember that your personal brand is going to stand. And the first thing I'm going to say, and this is maybe your first homework assignment, get your domain name. Your domain name it has to be your name. Like if you don't own your name, you need to. So go ahead and go on. I always recommend Namecheap over GoDaddy. GoDaddy's trash. They're kind of, and I'll kind of talk about this intermittently. But there's some bad players out there that have kind of corrupted our entire marketing industry, and GoDaddy's one of them. GoDaddy, I actually blame because I used to develop websites for the fact that everybody thinks they could be a website developer. Like, oh, GoDaddy, just go online and click a few buttons and look, your website exists. That that kind of thing is probably coming thanks to AI, but it's not here yet. And it kind of, ruined the website. It didn't ruin the market, but it made it a lot more difficult for website developers to get business because everybody thought like, oh, it just takes a couple seconds to make a website. It's like, no, what are you talking about? And on top of that, if you don't have a brand together, who cares? Because it's not going to be helping your actual brand and what you're trying to accomplish at all because nothing is matching. And I'm kind of going all over the place, and this will all come into focus pretty soon. But really, what I found, and when I was building the AI Brand Academy and all the systems behind the AI Brand Academy, I reviewed my 20 years of experience in marketing and branding, and then I also looked at the history of marketing and advertising itself. And what I came back to every single time was that if you don't have a succinct brand, if you can't articulate what your mission is, what your values are, what you're trying to accomplish, you don't really have anything because every piece of content that you make is going to be its own individual brand because there's nothing centralized. So, what I came up with was the AI Brand Academy and the brand pillars are really what it got boiled down to, where I said, okay, if I'm going to be doing any type of marketing, any type of outreach, any type of advertising, none of it matters unless it's consistent. And to be consistent, I need 9 different components, which I call the brand pillars. So the brand pillars are what we're going to be doing today. We're also going to be doing a little bit of research into who you are, what's your brand system, but it is dependent on you having a website. You could potentially run the initial prompt I'm going to give you using just at maybe your Facebook page or LinkedIn page, or you could just copy all the data from your LinkedIn page. So I'm going to say the requirements for today are you need to have a website, or you need to have at least a filled out LinkedIn page, which everybody should have a filled out LinkedIn page. That's kind of requirement these days for having a personal brand. A LinkedIn page is bare minimum. Like you have to have a LinkedIn page. And we'll talk about, I get a little bit into LinkedIn optimization. I'm going to tell you though, I focused a lot of effort for the last like year and a half on LinkedIn and got Zippo in terms of results. And I could have worked it differently. I do have a pretty decent newsletter, which I'll show you guys, and I'll show you how to make that, in the next session because if you don't have a website, LinkedIn is a good place to kind of put everything, including your content. So if you're writing articles, which again, I'll show you how to write those in your brand voice, then you could get quite a few subscribers. The one I did is called the Focus series on LinkedIn. I think I have over 1,000 subscribers, and I didn't actually do anything. I didn't like tell people about it. I just posted content on there, and the subscribers just came kind of automatically. So if you don't want to do all the setup for email, then that's a good alternative. But I will say, email is still gold. Like if you're not collecting an email list for your personal brand, then you're missing the point. You could have 100,000 YouTube subscribers. You could have 10,000 links on LinkedIn. Nothing's going to be more valuable than say 500 emails. Because emails are your only way to directly contact your audience and the only way you can control the message. Because if you don't have that, which is kind of your independent network, then you're still reliant on Facebook. You're still reliant on LinkedIn. You're still reliant on YouTube. You're still reliant on these big companies that don't give a crap about you. And honestly, you're just feeding them more information all the time. And that's another thing I'll talk about a lot, which is, kind of brand ownership, we'll call it, where it's like you need to be the owner of your content. The only way you're going to get that is if you have a website that you're posting on at least as much as you're posting on social media. Because what you're doing when you do post on social media, you're giving away content and they're making money off of it. They're getting data from it. They're getting the hits from it, the traffic from it. And what do you get? You get some awareness, which is good. But if you're not converting that awareness into your own list, then what's the point? They own it. You don't own anything. So I really want you guys to think, and when we're talking about your personal brand, think about ownership. Think about you own the list, you own the data, and you're the one that's going to make money off of it. Now, I have a much more complex topic called brand value, where basically with Web3, I think that the big thing with Web3 is the ability to own your information and make money off of it, monetize all this data that you've been generating every single day. Like imagine that you had proof of ownership, which we'll call an NFT, and then all of a sudden that your brand, the Mark de Grasse brand, isn't just, oh, Mark de Grasse gets some traffic to his website. Mark de Grasse has a list of, 5,000, really good target market, information. I also have a list of these NFTs that prove that I own 5,000 articles and I own 3,000 videos and I own all these different things. And then just imagine there's a valuation system for this, this data. And I could say, hey, my value, the Mark de Grasse brand, based on the proven ownership, which is the NFTs, the Mark de Grasse brand is worth $500,000. Boom. There you go. Now I could sell, I could sell Mark de Grasse if I wanted to, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll be 70, in 30 years. Great, yeah. Have my grandkids have some inheritance. They got grandpa's data. There you go. You could power a new AI. Who knows what's going to be at that point? But anyways, and this isn't like this concept, the brand value concept, I think is the next evolution of how all business will be managed, where it's not just, hey, here's the revenue that I generate that shows that the brand has value or the assets, the physical assets. Oh, I own a tractor and I have a construction company. So my construction company is worth this much. No, you could say, no, I have this data. I have this customer information. I have this, operational data, and all of it is, I could prove my ownership of it. Now everybody could have $1 million brand, whether it's making millions of dollars a year or not. So that's the future I'm looking for, and that's really what I'm trying to prepare everybody to start creating. So let's get into personal brand because it all starts there. You have to prove your value as a professional, as you're a business owner, even if you don't have any value of like consulting or giving services, you still have a brand, and that brand should be generating money because you're doing all the work. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and start with just a little bit of research. This is what I call the brand system. And it's kind of a catch-all term for like, who are you? What do you do? What are you trying to do? And this is going to be the basis of what we're going to do next, which is our brand pillars. So I'm going to put a link to this prompt page in the comments here. Now, currently, this isn't gated information, but we are going to start gating this. So if you don't have a membership at the Academy, go ahead and think about picking that up. You could get free membership right now, or you could do pro membership. We're doing a 1 year anniversary sale on that, so I'll give you some information about that later on. But you could just go free and still access that. But go and check that out. That is our prompt that we're going to start with right now. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so this is the brand system builder. And again, it's kind of a catch-all phrase for basically saying, "Hey, what are you trying to do? What's the system? How do you describe who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, who you're trying to serve?" A lot of times it's really difficult to do that because you're like, "Well, I do this and I do that, and I've been this executive, and I've been this job role, and I've had this company," and it's all just a blur to people. Most of the time, when you're thinking of an individual, you only think of one thing. Like, I have my friend Sebastian podcasts. He just talks about podcasts, how to make a podcast, how to promote a podcast, how to podcast. I think of podcasts when I think of Sebastian. So that's he did a good job branding because that I can at least think of something. If you think of most of your friends, like a professional friends, like what do they do? They do marketing. That's not very defined, is it? So what we're trying to do with this is really say, okay, no, this is what I do. I help businesses, blah. And then there you go. So go ahead and check that out. We're going to go and copy this. Do I have a volunteer, somebody who wants to see what their system is according to AI? Go ahead and leave a comment in there. Just say me and put a link to your website. So to run this, you can use ChatGPT or you can use Perplexity. I like Perplexity. I actually liking it more and more compared to ChatGPT, but it's a race. Sometimes you have people who or they'll release something amazing. Like, with ChatGPT, they just released the Sora instead of using crappy Dolly. And it's way better than it was. But let's go ahead and check out Perplexity and see what it says. And I'll just use me for this one. Our website is and again, recommendation number one. Oh, wait, do we have a volunteer? I'm supposed to get the replay of the session. Oh, yes. Yes, I will be. Actually, I'll have all of these on the website. So, yeah, if you were here, just check out the event page, but I'll put a link to that in there afterwards. All right, so we're just going to use my website, markdegrasse.com. And this is it. This is all you have to do. Paste the prompt and replace the brackets. And anything you see with the Academy when we're sharing prompts, it's always going to look like that. There's just a set of brackets, replace that information, you're good to go. Now, I've been telling people this, describing AI agents is kind of complicated, but if you want to see how they work, this is a great example, is the Pro Search option on Perplexity, because you were literally watching the thinking. For step two, I need to ensure each system name is, and you're actually seeing it process the information. So we're looking at it think right now. And so now it's giving me the result. So this is, again, and I'm always trying to teach people how to use AI through application rather than here's how to use AI. What we did here was the prompt series is two-step process. So we informed, this is called training the AI. We said you are a brand strategist. Review the content, messaging, layout, product services, and brand voice of the website below. Based on your analysis, create a unique branded system or framework that organizes and presents the overall offer and philosophy in a compelling way to the most likely and relevant target audience. So that's it's only a couple sentences, but I told it a lot of stuff. It's a brand strategist. It knows its role. And then I said, here's how to review the content. You're going to look at all this different stuff, and then you're going to create a framework and you're going to organize it based on the relevant target market. So it's doing a ton of stuff just with that one statement. It's found its role. It got instructions for what to do, and it's actually going to analyze the information in order to give a result. Then it says the specific deliverable would be step one, generate 5 potential names and summaries for the system. And then I gave it the layout that I wanted it in. I want 1 sentence summary and I want a 2 to 3 sentence explanation to say, here's overall what it is and a name, a system name. And this is a great way to prompt where you're not just saying, give me this crap. You're saying, give me this crap in this format after you do all of this work. So that's kind of the prompt system behind what we're doing. Then there's a second step to the process where I say, okay, after I select one of the 5 options, and asking for options is a great idea because if you don't say, hey, give me a list of options, it'll just give you its favorite result or the fastest result. Also, consider that with AI. AI isn't just a dumb machine. It's been programmed by the platform. So with something like ChatGPT, sometimes you'll find it does stuff that's efficient for the AI, not necessarily efficient for the user. So keep that in mind too. Okay. And I'm not going to go too far into that. We're talking personal branding. Okay. So now we have the system name called the momentum method. I like that. My name's Mark, so there's an M. And so momentum method, MMM, looks good. That's good branding. Okay, summary, a phased approach to converting SEO insights into compounding business growth. Rationale matches Mark's focus on actionable step-by-step processes while framing SEO as a growth accelerator. Appeals to entrepreneurs who want predictable, scalable results without jargon like that. The traffic blueprint, a modular system for building evergreen organic traffic through targeted content and technical optimization. Aligns with the dual expertise in content strategy and technical SEO. The blueprint metaphor appeals to logical thinkers who want clarity in digital marketing. Profit pathway framework, authority accelerator system, scalable growth engine, scalable growth engine. That's actually from Digital Marketer. But all these things sound pretty good. If you describe that as like, hey, I'm Mark de Grasse, I'm the creator of the traffic blueprint, and basically I find out how to get you traffic organically and optimize it through the results that you get from it. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool system. And I was able to describe it in a sentence. So if you want to think of it like that, like think of it like your elevator pitch. If you've never heard elevator pitch, that term, basically it's something that you can tell somebody during an elevator ride. And if you can't describe what you do during that elevator ride, you failed because they're not gonna listen to you explain, oh, well, I do all this magic stuff and I do all this research and I do blah, 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 blah. No, what do you do? What can I get from you? What can you give me? So think of those terms. And this is kind of what this is doing. So I'm going to say one. I do like the momentum method because of the M's. And I'm just say one. There we go. Oh, we're doing pretty good. We already talked about a ton of stuff. I'm looking for feedback on my Web3 explanation because that's a tough one. It's tough enough just to learn what the heck Web3 was. Okay, so now what it's doing is the second part of the prompt. So the system or step two, after I select one of the five, write a detailed system overview document that includes system overview, core benefits, audience fit, step-by-step breakdown, requirements, branding hook, and optional add-ons. So, I mean, look at that. I told it exactly how I want my system. Just know, like, have it do whatever you want. No, like this is just a template for a prompt. You could just take it and put the stuff that you want to see in it. So let's see what it said. Okay, system name, the momentum method. The momentum method is a phased, results-driven framework designed to help businesses leverage SEO insights and strategies to create compounding growth over time. By focusing on building a strong foundation, implementing targeted strategies, and maintaining consistent optimization, this system ensures that every step contributes to sustainable momentum for your brand's online presence and business success. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. And then it says core benefits, sustainable growth, clarity and focus, scalable strategies, measurable ROI, confidence and execution. Audience fit, designed for entrepreneurs and small business owners, scaling businesses, marketing teams. Cool. I'd probably go a little bit more narrow than that because those groups think wildly differently. But we could always go further into the research after we kind of agree that this is what we want. Step-by-step breakdown. We're going to build the foundation. We're going to target action. We're going to do growth optimization, and we're going to compound success using these steps. Looks good. Requirements. Here's what you'll need. And this is good because when you tell a client, and I'm kind of talking specifically on B2B services here, but when you say like, "Hey, here's what I need from you," then you're putting the ball back in their court, and it does add authority because you're not just saying like, "Oh, well, just do whatever you want. Just let me know what you have. I'll accommodate you." Nobody respects that. They want to hear that you've one done this before and you having requirements kind of proves that where you're not just like, oh, hey, well, let me figure it out. No, no. You want a system. People want to hear, I need this from you. And then now they start to respect you like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's somebody who's done this before. Okay. So you have to have a functional website. If you don't have a functional website, go do that. I'm not going to do that for you. Get it done. Come back to me. When you get serious, I'll talk to you. Okay. Willing to invest time and resources. Hey, I'm not just here to deliver something. Like this is an interaction. If you're not interacting with me, then we have nothing to talk about. So I need 1 hour from you per week for the first 4 weeks. And if you can't commit to that, I can't work with you. And again, this sounds like I'm going to be turning off clients. That's a good thing. You want to turn off those bad clients because if that client's not going to show up, they're not going to say, "Oh, I didn't show up. I feel bad." Just get it done when you can. No, that type of person that doesn't show up is also going to be the type of person that asks for their money back. Keep that in mind. If you're a marketer, this has probably happened to you. I had some clients back in my website business where they would not get back and they paid me all the money, would not contact me for years. And then after I shut down the business, I had maybe a dozen old clients that never finished the projects come back and say, like, I'm ready to finish. Nope. Make them commit. You're a business. You're not, an employee of somebody where they could just come ask you for stuff when they feel like it. Be a business, have a system. Okay, commitment to following through each phase for sustained results. If you put it back on them, say, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do. We're going to agree on what each of us are providing during this project, and this is how we're going to get the job done. All of a sudden, they're going to respect you. They're going to get you what you need. You got to do what you do. Everybody's happy. So again, some of these things sound like, oh, I don't want to be mean to the client. You're not being mean to the client. You're being a professional. Okay. Branding hook. The momentum method positions Mark de Grasse as not just an SEO expert, but as a trusted guide who simplifies complex processes into achievable steps for entrepreneurs and businesses looking for lasting growth. The name evokes progress, energy, and inevitability, qualities that resonate with ambitious audiences seeking dependable solutions. Man, it sounds great. You know, and again, not everybody's going to be into this. Some people will be 100% turned off by this process. That's good. You're eliminating bad prospects, you're eliminating bad clients, and you'll be better off in the long run. Okay, optional add-ons, one-to-one coaching sessions, custom content packages, technical SEO audits. That all sounds good. And then it tells you, here's what you need for your presentation, which is amazing. A lot of times when you start these projects of like, I'm going to build a system, you forget components. This says, okay, I'm going to need a landing page. I'm going to need an interactive diagram. I'm going to need case studies. I'm going to need call to actions. I'm going to need a video explainer. Now you have actionable things that you can do. And you can keep on telling, I'm not going to go too far because you could mess around with this, but let's say that, okay, I like all this, but I don't like that it's designed for such a wide group, entrepreneurs, small business owners, scaling businesses, and marketing teams. I'm going to say, please rewrite with a specific focus on scaling businesses that are currently making between, we'll say 2.5 million to 10 million. Okay. Now we're going to go through this with our brand pillars where we're really going to define our customer avatar or target market, whatever you want to call it. But you could still start the process just by having this system set to say, okay, here's my core offer, here's the main thing I talk about, and then now I'm good to go. But the more narrow you get, the better the copy is going to get, and again, the more we're going to eliminate the people who shouldn't be in there. And this is usually a bad word, niching or niching. It's niching. But just know that it's not a bad thing. The more narrow you get, the better, because you could always adjust, but most likely if you don't go this narrow initially, you're not going to have anything be successful and you're going to be starting over again and again and again. Okay, so we're going to try to avoid that. Okay, so now we say high velocity SEO framework designed explicitly for businesses generating 2.5 million to 10 million. So I'm going super specific. But this is again, now you eliminate the small guys that or girls or whoever who waste your time. Where they're like, "Oh, I'm so excited to work with you. Okay, it's going to be $10,000." Oh, I can't afford that. Okay, well, now they're not even going to ask because you said 2.5 to 10 million. Okay, this version of the momentum method addresses the unique challenges of mid-stage companies transitioning from founder-led growth to systemized scaling while maintaining SEO ROI as revenue multiplies. Sounds good. Scalable traffic systems, predictable pipeline growth, margin protection, enterprise-grade reporting. Ooh, I like that. Team amplification, blah, blah, blah. Perfect for companies making 2.5 to 10, leadership teams, businesses with existing SEO traction. Looks good. Scalable foundation audit, process industrialization, predictable growth engine, enterprise transition, requirements, And then your branding hook here, position Mark as the scaling expert who helps growth stage companies transform SEO from a marketing tactic to a boardroom level growth driver. The system emphasizes predictable outcomes and operational rigor that 2.5 million plus companies require. There you go. Now, there's a lot of work that you're going to have to do because this is actually building a brand from scratch. But if you've kind of made your living as a consultant or coach or whatever it is without having like a set system, you're just like, I make custom. You could do custom, but chances are you're not charging enough for that. Because if I say like, hey, we're going to build this out from scratch, like I'm going to go in there, I'm going to learn your company, I'm going to build a system from scratch, one that's going to take you a long time. Every client's probably going to be, a 3 to 6 month project. You're never going to systemize this. You're never going to be able to turn that into something that you could scale by outsourcing components of it, even through AI. Because a lot of people think AI is just like the magic scaler. It can be, but you still need processes and systems, and you're still going to need help. We're not at the point where I could be like, Bob, my AI, go ahead and run the system on this client, and then it does this stuff. Eventually, maybe. But even then, if you're using agentic AI or AI agents to do something like that and leaving it up to them to decide all this stuff, you're going to get random results. And when the client asks, like, hey, how does this work? You're not going to be able to explain it because you didn't actually do it. So, anyways, there's good way to use AI, bad way to use AI. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not customizing this stuff, and this is where the branding comes in, you're going to be, kind of effed because eventually the client's going to go like, I can just have AI do this. There's nothing specific that you've done. You never clarified the system. You can't explain how it works and it just does stuff. I can have my own AI do that. So this is again, personal branding is going to guard you against this, competition that we're eventually going to have between humans and AI, where should I just have an AI do it? Or should I have, Bob do it? It's, well, there's nothing special about Bob. I'll just have AI do it. Anyways, all right. So this is hopefully you got your system down. If you can, if you did run this, I would love to hear your method that you chose because this is fun. And again, don't overthink it because the cool thing about AI is now you could do this fun exploration of things without having to think like, oh, I just wasted 5 hours doing this. I have to finish it now. It's like no, now you can just go. Oh, we got a question about DeepSeek real quick. Yeah, DeepSeek works. It's for me, it's always a I don't know, liability question. Because let's say that we get into some trade war with China and a bunch of Chinese websites get banned. Just saying these things, I used to laugh like, nah, they're not going to do that. There's just too much money being made. They'll never turn off the money. But these days, yeah, crazy stuff happens all the time. TikTok, I'm still very dubious of now because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a waste of time because I not don't use, it gets banned or something. Anyways, yeah, use DeepSeek. And eventually, what I think is going to happen is we're going to have our own AI on our devices. That's probably coming in the next like 2 to 5 years. And then none of these questions are even going to matter because you're just going to do your own AI stuff using your own capabilities. But yeah, go ahead and use that. Just if you're running client data through it, just think about it a little bit. Know that if it's something sensitive like financial information, maybe don't use that. or just tell the client, disclose it. Hey, I'm going to use DeepSeek. They might have all your information. Just heads up. Anyways, I was an HR professional, so I always think in terms of how to not get sued. Okay, so let's say that you have your system down now. And this is really just an exploration in like, okay, what do I offer? What do I think? Just to get the, creative brand juices flowing. Now what we're going to do is start our brand pillars. I'm going to get through as many of them as I can. What we do at the Academy is we have a bunch of processes. Oh, I don't have access to my own content. Better log in. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, so I'm going to go to processes, and what you'll find is our brand pillar. And so this is, if you're not familiar with Academy, this is what we do. We create processes, step-by-step systems, custom GPTs, and we're solution creators. And the solutions, just so you know, like if you are doing something like this where you're doing step-by-step processes, when we start using agentic AI or AI agents, I could just say, hey, review the process, execute the process. And so now I know what the agent's doing, but there's still a lot of room in here for, the AI to basically process the instructions. But I can still explain it. All right. So when we do the process, and again, you do need access to this, but I will share the individual GPTs so you can see it. The brand vision is where we start. Now there are nine. You can see them here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we got a brand vision. Brand vision is just what it sounds like. But what I found was that if you can center everything that your brand does on the vision, it could make everything consistent because all your decisions will be made. So if I said like, okay, my brand vision is that I'm able to help 20 companies get from 2.5 million to 10 million within the next 2 years. Okay. That's like, okay, well, that's a significant amount. That's what, $75 million in revenue that I'm saying I can generate. That's one ambitious and it's quantifiable and it's specific. And that's really where I see brand vision has to be. Because if you just say brand vision is, I help the world get better, like that's nice, but it's not actionable, it's not impressive, and it's very forgettable. So the brand vision is not just wishy-washy, whatever. This is the center of your brand. And if it's not ambitious enough, and this is something I learned from another speaker I spoke with, his name's Matt. I have to get his name because it was just such an awesome thing. But your vision as the business owner, and especially with your personal brand, has to be big enough to contain the vision of everybody that works for you. All the contractors, all your employees, all your VAs, and honestly, all your AI. Because when you start to center this vision, this big, thing that you have, it can contain everybody else's vision within it. And you can't be democratic with this process. And I'm going to say that a million times. We are not running a democracy here, especially with your personal brand. I love that you have friends and family members that want to give you input. Doesn't matter. They're not you. You have the most to gain and the most to lose with your personal brand and with all of your companies. And if you don't realize that, it's going to get lost. You might make money. You might be successful. But honestly, even the most successful people I've seen that weren't executing on their brand vision end up unhappy. And I know a bunch of really successful people. And honestly, them being successful has nothing to do with happiness. It mainly has to do with living your purpose. That gets used so much that I feel kind of lame saying it. But that's really part of it because if you're not living that, you're always missing something. You're always empty because, oh, I have this emptiness inside. Yes, I made a bunch of money, but I didn't accomplish anything that I really thought. And I came to this realization after I did that. I kind of said, okay, I got all the stuff, I got the big positions, I got the blah, blah, blah. And then I realized like, oh, that had nothing to do with what I actually wanted to achieve. So even though I was successful, I ultimately wasn't because I didn't accomplish my vision. So anyways, brand vision, I talked about for about 10 minutes. Super duper important. You cannot miss this. Oh, the link isn't open. So again, okay. Yeah, let me think of how I could share this with you guys. I'll have another link I'll promote or I'll give you guys afterwards. Actually, I could just restrict this page. Should I do that? It's going to take me a few steps. So I'll go ahead and do that for you guys. I'm going to send you a link afterwards that will have that, or I'll put it on that event page, a publicly accessible version. Actually, I could do that. Here's how I'll do it. I'll just like, what's the easiest way to share information that's currently restricted? And the easiest thing you could do is duplicate the post and unrestrict it. There we go. Oh, I also will share how I do all this stuff with you guys. I use WordPress exclusively, and I exclusively use something called the U theme. And in order to restrict and gate content, I use MemberPress. And all of this together is the system behind the Academy. Okay, protected content. Actually, I can just delete this for now. I just want to unrestrict one page. Hold on. Okay, I'm just gonna restrict this real quick. Don't tell anybody. Okay, go and try it now. Now you won't be able to get to the GPTs necessarily, so we'll go step by step. But I'm going to give you access to the brand vision creator GPT because that's what we're going to be working on today. All right, so when you get that link, go ahead and open up the brand vision creator. And again, each one of these, and this is something that I teach, with, just content in general, is you have to define everything. So even though all these terms I've shared with you, brand vision, brand name, brand slogan, core brand values, core brand offer, blah, 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 these are not uncommon terms, but the definitions are specific to my brand. So as soon as I made AI Brand Academy, I said, okay, here's our brand pillars or brand parameters. I want you to write the definitions based on our branding. And so now brand vision isn't just, oh, I made up a definition for brand vision. It's brand vision based on the vision of AI Brand Academy, based on all the other things that we believe. And then now it's specific to me. And so what we've done, and if you want to do this yourself, go for it. We've essentially made a dictionary of every term that's associated with the brand. And so I literally have, I think, like 150 terms, and this is probably isn't even all of them. But this is branding, and ultimately, in case you're wondering like why you would do this, when they start making an AI plugin that can essentially know your entire website, which they already have, I use AI Engine. Now I could power it with my terms, and what I'm doing with all of these steps is I'm making it, custom to me. And so why would you come to AI Branding Academy rather than just using some random AI? Because we have a custom database of everything that we do that's consistent with us, and it's the only place you can get it because we own all these terms. There you go. So this is how you protect yourself from the changes that are happening with AI in business. All right, so brand vision creator, I need to create a brand vision for my company. Easy peasy. What industry is your brand in? You should know that. I'm going to say marketing and I'll just say marketing and branding for B2B businesses. And you can get as specific as you want. If you don't know, you could just ask it. Again, you do need a decent website though that contains the information. Okay, what does your business provide to your customer? Done for you marketing services, brand strategy consulting, fractional CMO services, blah, blah, blah. And what I would do here is just putting what you offer, just list it, but list it in the highest sold to the least sold. And if you're launching a new product, great. It doesn't exist yet. I want to know what makes you money. That's how you get your vision done. And that's kind of why we did that first step of what's your system, because I could literally just paste the system, which I'm going to do. So, and again, this is again the cool part of AI is who cares? You could redo this after you slept on it for a couple days, and it's going to take you another 5 minutes. So who cares? So I'm going to go and say, here is my system. I'm just going to input the system that we just made using Perplexity. Wow, that's a seriously dialed in offer. The momentum method for scaling is crystal clear and already screens premium growth partner for B2B companies. Good. We did a good job. One AI impressed the other AI. Okay, now we need to specify your core purpose, the bigger why behind what your business exists to do. So here are 5 core purposes. I'll make this a little bigger. 5 core purpose options that fit your brand and audience. Pick the one that resonates most. One, to help growth stage companies scale sustainably and predictably, to transform SEO into a revenue generating board level growth function. That's pretty cool. To give B2B leaders the tools and confidence to scale without chaos, to make advanced SEO systems accessible to mid market teams, or to bridge the gap between marketing tactics and business outcomes. These are all pretty solid. I do like what you want to do is like the aha moment using digital marketing terms, or just something that makes you go like, ooh, like that. That sounds interesting. This one actually spoke the most to me. I'm not, and again, this is just pretend because I don't pitch myself as an SEO provider. But this sounds cool to transform SEO into revenue generating. So right there says to me, because there's a lot of SEO companies that never delivered, but most companies know that they need it. So they'll be like, oh, it never generated revenue, but I do believe in it. Plus board level growth function. If you have a board, chances are you are a larger company. So it speaks on multiple, elements to what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm going to say two. And again, and this is something that I tell people about using AI. Don't treat AI like software. AI is not like software. I mean, sort of like software, but the way you use it isn't. Because what happens with software is you have to adapt to the thing that has been made. So when you download an app these days, you have to learn the app. What can it do? What can it not do? How do I use it? AI is different. Instead of saying, I need to learn how to use this software to get what I want, AI is just, what do you want? And that's it. All those steps are gone. Just tell it what you want and it'll tell you how to get it. So just remember that. Even though I'm giving you options here, just because I think it's better user interface to do so, just if you're confused, just say, I don't get it. What do you mean? And it'll just explain it to you. And then you select the option. But just know when you do that, when you go off on tangents using the chat function, make sure you go, okay, I'm good. Go back to the process and they'll return to it. And also, just this is a demonstration of how we create GPTs at the Academy. We have a specific format. There's 9 different types of GPTs. This is what we call a wizard GPT, where it's collecting information from you and then intuitively answering questions and building upon the solution. Okay, question 4. Now we'll define your ambitious goal. Here are 5 options based on your offer and core purpose. Choose the one that fits best. Become the go-to growth partner for 500 plus mid-market companies. Help clients generate 1 billion in combined pipeline from organic search. Redefine SEO as a C-suite metrics in every 2.5 to $10 million company. Build the most trusted SEO system for scaling B2B businesses. Replace outdated SEO tactics with revenue-first frameworks across the industry. These are all pretty cool. I kind of like what I said initially, where I was like, I want to help 10, $2.5 million businesses become $10 million businesses. You could make it a little bit more like if you went with the, generate 1 billion in combined pipeline, that's pretty cool too. Because it's, the 1 billion number is the impressive part. Like, wow, $1 billion. That's pretty impressive. This is okay. Redefine SEO, build the most trusted SEO system. This one's less quantifiable, I think. Like I like it. I like to know. How close am I to the goal that I'm trying to accomplish? Makes you feel good. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say 2, just because it's quantifiable. Again, very impressive and possible. Who knows? Okay, question 5. Last step. Now let's make the vision quantifiable with a clear objective that can track your progress toward that $1 billion goal. Partner with 250 companies and average 4 million in pipeline growth per client. Generate 1 million qualified leads for mid-market B2B companies through organic traffic. Deliver 100 plus enterprise SEO systems with a 10x ROI benchmark. Achieve 90% client retention through demonstrable revenue impact, or train 1,000 in-house marketers to run the momentum method themselves. As you can see, some of these are like, this one's definitely an education play, the number 5, where you're trying to accomplish. Make sure you don't just pick something because it sounds cool. Make sure it's something you're going to deliver. I kind of like the 100 plus SEO systems. If I was able to do this, it's flexible because 10x, like let's say you go to a company that's making 500,000 and you 10x the 500,000 to 5 million. That's pretty cool. 10x is a lot because if you're saying a $10 million company, you're saying you're taking them to $100 million using SEO. That's an awesome accomplishment. Doable. I'm going to say 3. So I'm going to say 3, but I want to 3x their ROI. And so, and think about this, you're the professional. Is that possible? Don't make something impossible, because something impossible is a dream. It might be motivating, but you want to accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Okay, so your brand vision is ready to transform SEO into a board level growth function by helping 100 plus mid-market companies generate 1 billion in pipeline through enterprise systems that deliver 3x ROI. Now, that's a lot, which is why we have the more, explanative, full brand vision statement. But it does get you there. And also understand that this isn't exactly for you. You do need to understand it, but what this is going to do is going to power your RO or your AI systems. AI is the one that needs to know this. This is why we're generating a centralized brand parameters. We're not doing it just for us because we're in we're we're too chaotic to stick with anything. If you're human, that's kind of our nature. Like we're pretty all over the place. And that's why AI is so powerful, especially for branding, because it's not just about, oh, hey, I want to accomplish this amazing thing, because our objectives change constantly. It's a consistent platform. And that's really what the definition of branding is its consistency. And the reason why AI is the only reason why anybody under $1 billion company can now accomplish good branding is because of AI. It doesn't care that your dreams change. It doesn't care who you hire, doesn't care what happens in all these different parameters. It just knows the brand. And so now we can extrapolate all the things we need from the centralized source that doesn't change. There you go. Now, can you change it? Of course you can, but you really shouldn't after you set it in place, because then all your stuff that you're going to produce is going to get inconsistent. Okay, so this is our brand vision. Now, to organize your brand vision, I'm going to give you a template. This is our brand pillar worksheet or workbook. There you go. Now, within this workbook, you're also going to find the definitions for each one of these terms. You're going to find the complete definition. This is a short form definition, and then there's a GPT that's associated with each one of them. So if you want, before the next session, you could go ahead and go through a few more of them. Just remember that this is not the same order as you'll find on the sheet. The sheet is like the logical order that I made. The process is the logical process for actually getting these things. And just so you know, the GPTs feed off of each other, so they're not made to jump around. They're made to be done in order. Just keep a eye on that. So I'm going to give you the link to this. There you go. Actually, let me turn it into a copy. Or And so go ahead after you have this, and I would put both the short version and the long version. And so you'll come in here and just copy and paste it from ChatGPT into there. And you don't have to keep it. What you should do is really sleep on it, think about it. Maybe you could tell a few people. Don't base your decision off of other people's input though, because everybody has their own stuff that they're trying to achieve. They want you to achieve. They have their own opinion of you and their expectations of you. So this is really, it's your personal brand. It really needs to be about what you personally want to accomplish. Otherwise, you're going to muddy the waters quite a bit, and it's not going to be as successful. All right, so that's it for today. If you are available, and I'm going to put these all online. Again, I am going to start restricting this content to the website. So these events are free. Go and get in it, but really think about becoming a member because you'll get access to all the stuff. And just so you know, in the website, it's not just the brand pillars. We essentially have, I think, over 100 GPTs now, which accomplish a whole bunch of different stuff. We have categories of these tools, but just know that all of them are going to be based off your branding parameters. So once you start, getting in here, most of the questions are going to be, what are your brand pillars? It all starts with the brand pillars. And that's kind of what makes the Academy special is it's not just a bunch of tools. It's all tools that are based on your branding. So it's all custom to the brand, and I'll say brand 1,000 times during this, so get used to it. But again, I researched the entire history of, civilization to figure out what marketing really is. And what I came up with is it's branding. It's just about consistency. Because when you're inconsistent, you're essentially setting up a new brand every time you build something. It's in digital marketer, we called it half-built bridges, right? You're like, oh, there's a goal. I went, okay, stop. I went, I stopped. And that's what people do with their brand all the time, where it's like nothing's consistent. And then they do crazy stuff like changing the brand name. I'm like, oh my God, don't do that. Anyways, you're going to get all those types of lessons here. We're meeting again tomorrow. I think tomorrow's at 10. So mark that. And then it'll just be 11, I think, Thursday through next Monday is just going to be 11 o'clock each one of those days. So I hope to see you. Enjoy. And I will post the link to this And then I'll have a little subscription on the page on the website that will have this recording. And then I'll send update emails with each one of the pages. So go and sign up for that as soon as we have it up. All right, team. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.